That's why this was a very important thing for a lot of traders that we need to get back above so that we can start moving back into an upward trajectory as opposed to keep going down. That CPI news made it probably just at the right time to try to push us above that.
Today, we're going to talk about what's happening on the inflation side of things. The CPI numbers came back, and looks like, Patrick, looks like we're trending lower than expected.
Yeah, although to be honest, I probably think it's manipulated data, and sometimes they revise this data a few weeks later. So I take it with a grain of salt, but the market typically react when there's good news. So I expect the market to probably do well because of this. And I think the US just opened, so maybe I can share my screen and we can take a quick look. Yeah, Bitcoin, when it was announced, we saw a spike, then it came down a bit. Now the US just basically opened, and we see that we're trending up, but it's not massive just yet. But I think overall it's good. It's kind of a decent day. Our weave is up like near 7% so far. Pendle 5.5. So the thing, I think like since the beginning of Asia today, like the market has been up during the UK session, and now I suspect US will probably do well because we were about above a specific threshold of 58K, like 58 something. So now we're above that. By the way, that's something that like the moon phase. A lot of traders rely on this because it's actually quite accurate, and I often see like other like influencers talk about the moon phase like it's has influence over the body because it's like the body is like 90% water. I think it's kind of funny that they believe that. So there is a correlation, but to me the explanation is simple. It has nothing to do with the fact that your body has water in it. It's probably just because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If a lot of people believe in it and they use it to trade with that signal, then it become real. So I would not necessarily put a biological effect on the moon phase, but if enough people use it to make decision, then I'm fine with that. That means that it's still become kind of real and we can use it to take some decisions. So I would
We'll
not
have to get
explain it
a scientist on the show at some point
yeah.
to see if there's a correlation between
I
the
think there's a
moon.
correlation, but that doesn't mean that it's a biological correlation. So it just, people like brainwash themselves with a lot of things, and then if enough people use this to take decision, then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It become real because of it. So
Well, people want to make it as predictable as possible, right? Because if you're
yeah,
trading, you want to be able to predict the future. And to your point, if every trader is using the same model, if every trader has the same theories, then it makes it a lot more predictable, and they can essentially use it to their advantage.
exactly. And chances are it may not even be the traders themselves that promoted this. It was probably the big whales. Because if they can get hundreds of thousands of traders to behave in a certain way, those will know that it's all bullshit, but they can take advantage of it. So if you're a big whale with a large amount of money, you want people to become more predictable, so you can just publish book to describe some strategy that is supposed to work, and let's say this way you can basically brainwash people and behaving the way you want to take advantage of them. So the 200 moving average or exponential is the one that people care about. And that
Why is the 200 moving average the most important, in your opinion?
it's the same thing as the moon phase. People use it as an indicator that has good kind of predictability. So to me, whether or not it existed from the start is if enough people use it and they take decision on it, then it become real. To me, all of technical analysis is pretty much all very similar to that. Okay, hold on. I have to remove some stuff.
And while you're doing that, Patrick, quick question about just overall the news that came out. Do you think that this is uh, here to stay, or you think this is just more of like a short-term win for the economy and just the industry?
The news about the CPI,
Yes.
it's Normally it would be short-lived, but the thing is that the interest rate has been causing a lot of problem in the industry for quite a while. So if Powell start reducing rate in September, that will have a long-lasting effect for several months. So typically a news doesn't last long, but in this case, it's something that will affect the economy globally for a long time, because that means that he's gonna just start reducing rate, and we haven't seen a rate cut at all this year, if I recall. So
Is this CPI reading, is it being reflected in the ETF inflows at all?
in the for the ETF,
Yeah.
uh, I don't know if it necessarily will have much of an effect, but the ETF seems like I'll show that as well. But okay, just 1 second, I'll show this first. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's hard to read there, but that blue line is the 200 moving average, and right now we just passed a little bit above. So this is what has been kind of a resistance. Uh, like it was a support for a while, and then it became a resistance, and we've been on like moving under that 200 moving average for a while, and now we basically just broke. We broke on the 2nd of July, so that's not too long ago, like a week ago. But we didn't stay above for long enough, so it went back below. So we kept going down. So that's why this was a very important thing for a lot of traders, that we need to get back above so that we can start moving back into an upward trajectory as opposed to keep going down. That CPI news made it probably just at the right time to try to push us above that, which is quite important if we want to get back into the upper range of this like long-term trend, basically.
So are you looking for that breakout to be completely above that resistance line?
But for a few days, because sometimes you have a breakout, but it reverts back under. Like so typically, you want the candle to be above for like a few times so that it stays there.
Got it.
So the thing is, that's the Bitcoin ETF flows, and the last column is the total. I think we've seen some red day since June 24, like from time to time. But now for the past, since July 5th, it's been 4 days of decent, quite of positive flow. I think the 8th was pretty high, like it was $300 million of positive flow. So, and yesterday was not still so bad. So let's see today, but with the CPI, it's possible that there's a relationship, because if the interest rate goes down, um, the risk asset goes up. So that means that the pension plan may free up some capital to invest in a bit more risk asset. Because otherwise, when interest rates are high, maybe sometimes you just want to buy more bonds or something related to the interest rate itself, because it's supposed to be risk-free, even though it's not really entirely true. So they may trade some capital of the bonds and the T-bills and all that stuff to move into risk asset. So it may have a positive impact. We'll see today at the end of the day what happened there. All right. So maybe we can take one last look here. I can talk a little bit more about my grid bot strategy again. The thing I made some change, and it's been 2 weeks. So right now we are heading down, but I think they're probably shaking some longs, probably that just got open recently. So I think they'll crush a few people by liquidating them, and then I suspect by later today during the US session we'll probably start moving up, because technically speaking it should not make that much sense that it came in as a surprise, so people should not have expected it, so it should not have been priced in, and typically speaking the market should go up. So yeah, for my grid bot strategy, I do have the Ethereum Bitcoin bot that is still active. And not that long ago, we saw some massive capitulation, like Bitcoin went down to 53 or 52K, if I recall. But I never got into negative territory here. Technically speaking, my capital has shrunk in a US dollar domination. But because this is just the Ethereum and Bitcoin pair, they both went down at the same speed, basically, or relatively same speed. So I did accumulate more return over it overall. So over the past close to 30 days now, I have 3% of match profit, which is like a real, and then it's basically 11.30%. So in 1 month. So this is not super high return, but it's still 10% per month, which per year is like 200%. So no matter what, it's still very good return. And if you recall, I took out some of money from there to put a WIF and Pepe bots. And one of them, it was it was this one. My Pepe bot got, the stop loss got triggered. So I ended up losing, I think maybe $300. But then I took some more money out of my main bot of the Ethereum Bitcoin, and I reactivated a new Pepe bot. And it's been almost 4 days now. But you see, this one I'm up now 25% on the match profit, and I'm up like 55% on the overall profit if I were to terminate the bot right now.
And Patrick, for those that are watching for the first time
Yeah.
or didn't see the last video, essentially you created the Pepe bot because you're trying to front run the Ethereum ETF news, right? Your thought
Yeah.
process is that if the Ethereum ETF comes out, Ethereum will do well, but you're trying to front run some certain narratives that you think will do even better than Ethereum. One of them being the meme coins that are on Ethereum. Is that correct?
And that's it. And the one thing that I made a mistake on is that Bonk has flipped Pepe recently. So that means that I was assuming that Pepe was the biggest new meme coin from this cycle, as opposed to Shiba Inu or whichever. No, maybe not Shiba Inu, but yeah, no, Shiba Inu was on Ethereum, but that was last cycle. So this cycle, it's Pepe and Bonk that were the two biggest one, but Pepe was higher in market cap, but Bonk just flipped Pepe. So if I had put Bonk instead, I would have made more profit. But regardless, I'm up 55% and basically 25% in real profit. So I cannot think that it's wrong. But my first Pepe bot got stop loss. So I lost like $300, but I recovered it with this one. So
If you believe that the Solana ETF is going to come out, which again, it's a lot more of an aggressive strategy because we don't even have an Ethereum ETF yet, but we are starting to hear some rumors of a Solana ETF. Would you go with WIF
yes,
if you're trying to, front run that narrative?
exactly. Because WIF is the biggest meme coin of this cycle on Solana. And I think this bot has been activated for 8 days, and my matched profit is 10%. So in basically 1 week, that's very good. But the thing is that the market went down over the last week. So overall, I'm minus 20%, but I'm pretty confident that this will go back up, especially as good news of Solana come to be. Because the thing, typically speaking, the biggest meme coin on the chain are highly correlated to the chain itself, but they are more volatile.
I would be curious to know who ends up winning that race between Bonk and Pepe.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that it's not impossible that it was just a temporary big push, but we'll see. We can put a link to my blog post on Mirror, and like I go over what happened over the last month, basically. But maybe I can just go over this right now. I think like if for people who were not sure, I started with I put a first $3,000 on mid-February, then I put another $3,000 in March. So overall, it was 6,500 that I put in total, and now I'm at 12,293, which is a little bit below the 12,700 that I had on the June 1st. But it's just minus 3%. Meanwhile, Bitcoin lost more than that, and Ethereum lost more than that. So overall, that means that I generated more yield from the gridbot itself, and I accumulated more Bitcoin and Ethereum overall. So that means that when the market goes back to the price it was on June 1st, I will have more than what I had back then, which is more than what I had on July 1st as well. So we'll see how much I have on August 1st. I don't think I'll reach 21K. I would be surprised to that, but I would expect maybe between September and December, with the election and the global liquidity and a lot of other factors, that I think the market will probably do very well. In which case, then I think I will probably generate more than 30% per month during that period of time. So even though I struggle a bit right now, the Gridbot makes it that I accumulate more tokens. So as long as I don't get stop loss too many times, I should be able to come out winning from this. So there's another thing I wanted to mention is that I started a private community on Telegram. It's free, but people would have to use my referral code to the exchange where they're gonna be trading. So I support like a bunch of them, like Binance, Bybit, and OKX, and a few others. And that means that I get some upside if for the people who use my referral code, and then I'm available every day to answer questions and to help people get set up trading with Gridbot if they're not too familiar. This way, it's a win-win for everybody. I'm saying it's free. I'm doing it, but it's not free because I get payment from the exchange, but it's free for the people who are joining the private community.
Thanks for that transparency. Patrick, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for joining, and until next time.
It's a pleasure.